She was just another face in the training compound, quietly cleaning rifles like any other recruit, until a seasoned Navy SEAL slid a Barrett .50 cal into her hands. In that instant, her world shifted. What happened next would test not just her skill, but her courage, determination, and the very limits of human resilience. The sun hadn't fully risen when she stepped onto the compound, the chill in the air biting through her jacket as if warning her of the challenge ahead. Rows of rifles gleamed under the faint light, each one meticulously lined up, and the faint metallic scent of oil and gunpowder filled the air. To anyone else it might have seemed routine, but to her it was a world she was just beginning to navigate. She had come here with one goal, to prove herself. Not to anyone else, though that would inevitably come, but to herself. Every training manual she had read, every drill she had practiced, had led to this moment. And yet, standing there, she felt an unfamiliar tug of doubt. Could she really handle what was coming? The other trainees moved with quiet efficiency, hands methodically cleaning rifles, a rhythm that spoke of discipline drilled into muscle memory. She watched them, absorbing the precision, the unspoken code that dictated every move. Her own hands hovered over the rifle in front of her, hesitant at first, then slowly following the steps she had memorized. Barrel cleaning, bolt maintenance, lubrication, each motion mechanical yet intimate. There was a strange satisfaction in the ritual, a meditative quality to the meticulous care of the weapon. She felt her nerves begin to settle, replaced by focus. This was her element now, the quiet preparation before the storm. Around her, the compound hummed with activity, but it felt muted, almost distant, as if she were watching from behind a glass wall. The instructors moved with commanding authority, observing every action with piercing eyes that could spot a flaw before it happened. She reminded herself, mistakes weren't just errors. They were lessons, some harsher than others. And in this world, lessons came with consequences. Every so often, her eyes darted toward the more experienced trainees, those who seemed at ease with the firearms that intimidated her. There was an elegance to their movements, a confidence in the way they handled their weapons, and she found herself both intimidated and inspired. One day, she told herself, she would move like that, unflinching, precise, respected. But first, she needed to survive the present, and that meant mastering the weapons in her hands. And then, just as the morning light fully broke over the horizon, the moment that would change everything began to approach. She couldn't have known it yet, but the day would not end with routine rifle maintenance. It would end with a weapon she had only seen in photographs, a gun that dwarfed everything she had trained with, a weapon that would test not just her skill, but her courage. The morning calm was broken by a presence that seemed to command the air itself. He walked through the compound with a quiet authority, every movement precise, every gaze assessing. Navy SEAL, 3 words that carried weight she could feel in her bones. And now his eyes were on her. "Step aside," he said, voice calm but impossible to ignore. She froze, unsure if she had heard him correctly, but there was no mistaking the intent behind the words. He strode to where she knelt beside her rifle, the soft crunch of gravel under his boots a steady drumbeat in her chest. In his hands was a weapon she had only glimpsed in documentaries, the Barrett .50 cal. It was massive, almost surreal in its presence, a machine built not just for destruction, but for precision, power, and intimidation. Her heart hammered. This wasn't just another rifle. The weight alone seemed to radiate authority, as if the gun itself demanded respect. He handed it to her with the kind of calm that made everything else feel like chaos. "Your turn," he said simply. For a moment, she couldn't move. The world narrowed to the space between her hands and the barrel of the Barrett. Her fingers trembled slightly, brushing against the cold metal. It was heavier than she expected, almost impossibly so. Yet there was a strange elegance to its construction. Every curve, every joint, every bolt spoke of precision engineering. She had handled rifles before, but none carried the raw presence of this one. The SEAL didn't rush her. He didn't hover or offer advice immediately. He simply watched, letting her feel the weapon, understand it, respect it, And that was when the storm within her began. Fear, excitement, doubt, determination. They collided, tangled, and refused to be ignored. She felt the absurdity of the situation. One moment cleaning a basic rifle, the next holding a weapon designed to reach targets half a mile away, with the power to reshape the battlefield. Slowly, she lifted it, adjusting her stance. The recoil, the balance, the sheer size, everything demanded attention. And yet, as her arms strained to accommodate its weight, a spark ignited inside her. This wasn't just a test of physical strength. It was a test of mind and spirit. Could she rise to meet it, or would the weight of the weapon crush more than her arms? The SEAL finally spoke again. Focus on the fundamentals. Breath, grip, aim. Everything else follows. His words were simple, but in them lay a truth she would come to understand fully in the days ahead. Mastery was earned through respect, patience, and relentless practice. Holding that Barrett, she wasn't just handling a rifle. She was stepping into a new world, one where fear was inevitable, but courage was optional. And she was about to discover which she truly possessed. Her hands were steady now, but her heart still raced. The Barrett .50 cal rested in her grip like a living thing, heavy and demanding, yet strangely familiar after a few tense minutes of handling. Around her, the compound felt quieter, almost suspended, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Every eye on the range was now on her, every subtle movement scrutinized. And for the first time, the true test lay not in cleaning, adjusting, or holding, it lay in firing. She positioned herself behind the rifle, adjusting her body to the unnatural weight, aligning her eye with the scope. The SEAL crouched nearby, a silent shadow of guidance, reminding her with a nod that she was ready. Her fingers found the trigger, and the enormity of the moment hit her. One shot. One attempt to prove she belonged here, in a world designed to push people past fear and into mastery. The first squeeze was terrifying. The recoil was monstrous, jolting through her arms and shoulders, threatening to knock her off balance. The deafening report of the shot echoed across the range, shaking the ground and rattling nerves. But when the dust settled and her vision cleared, she realized the target had moved. Barely, but enough. She had done it. She had fired the Barrett .50 cal, and she had not failed. Relief surged, but it was fleeting, quickly replaced by focus. Every trainee on the range had moments of success, but true skill required consistency. She reset, recalibrated, and took her second shot. This time, the bullet hit closer to the center. Her confidence grew, not in arrogance, but in quiet, controlled determination. Each breath, each adjustment, each deliberate movement was a small victory over doubt. By the third and fourth shots, the rhythm of the weapon, the scope, her stance, and her breath began to merge into a single fluid motion. She felt a strange connection with the machine in her hands, an understanding that went beyond mechanics. It was respect born from fear transformed into control. She realized that the Barrett wasn't just a weapon. It was a teacher, harsh but honest, punishing mistakes and rewarding focus. As the SEAL finally nodded in approval, a rare smile breaking his otherwise stoic demeanor, she felt something inside her shift. This moment, the fear, the intensity, the triumph, was more than a test of skill. It was a test of her own limits, and she had found them, and exceeded them. For the first time, she understood what it meant to wield not just power, but responsibility. And she knew, deep down, that this was only the beginning of a journey that would push her far beyond anything she had imagined.